Stoicism Breath presents a message for the silent fighter, the one who smiles by day, yet wrestles with invisible battles at night. You've carried the weight for so long that your own mind can feel like the enemy. We face two wars in this life, one with the world and one within. The inner war is the deadliest because while circumstances can wound you, it's your thoughts that keep the pain alive. You can sit in a quiet room with no threat in sight and still feel fear, regret, anger, or shame. The battlefield isn't out there, it's in your head. You've lived those days when everything looks fine on the surface, but your mind won't stop attacking. One small thought turns toxic. I'm not good enough. I always mess up. They don't really like me. Left unchecked, a single doubt spirals until it steals your identity. This is where Stoicism becomes a weapon.
Marcus Aurelius, Epictetus, and Seneca endured war, slavery, exile, and betrayal, yet they discovered a simple, ruthless truth. You cannot control the world, but you can always control your response. As Marcus wrote, you hold power over your mind, not outside events. That's the doorway to strength. You don't need to be rich, perfect, or in control of every variable. You need the skill of responding instead of reacting. You are not your negative thoughts. You are the observer of them. And if you can observe them, you can choose how long they stay. That shift from fusion to observation calms the body, steadies the breath, and clears the path for wiser action. Think of thoughts like weather across a vast sky. Storms pass, the sky remains. This is not a feel-good 5 minutes. It's training for those ready to stop living under the weight of their own minds. Over the next 7 chapters, we'll expose the most brutal mental traps that feed negativity and apply precise Stoic tools to dismantle them. Study each step. Let the ideas land in your body. If you want peace, clarity, and inner strength, don't skip ahead. Each lesson sharpens the next. We begin with the first law: you are not your thought. Stoicism. Breath reminds us of a truth that feels simple but is life-changing. You are not your thoughts. Every single day, hundreds of random, strange, even painful ideas pass through your mind. If every one of them defined you, you'd be changing identities every minute. The Stoics taught that the mind has 2 parts: what happens and how you respond. Negative thoughts will always appear. That's normal. What matters is what you do with them. Epictetus said it isn't events themselves that disturb us, but our opinions about them. A thought like "I failed," "I'm ugly," or "they left me" only becomes suffering when you believe it. Otherwise, it's just background noise. Think of a dark cloud in the sky. You don't panic just because it might rain. You notice it, repair if necessary, and move on. Treat your negative thoughts the same way. Acknowledge, detach, let go. The mistake most people make is turning a thought into an identity. I felt anxious, so I must be an anxious person. I had one negative thought about my relationship, so it must be over. But thoughts are not facts. They are suggestions, not commands. Your mind is like a radio station. Just because a song plays doesn't mean you have to dance. You can choose to change the station. The Stoics practiced exercises to test this. Write your painful thought on paper and challenge it like a judge. Ask, is this 100% true? What evidence do I have? What would Marcus Aurelius say? Will this matter in 5 years? Most of the time you'll see the thought was never as heavy as it felt. Another powerful technique is labeling. Instead of saying I'm a failure, shift to I'm having a thought that I failed. That small change creates distance, and in that space you gain power. You are not your thoughts, you are the sky. Thoughts are just clouds passing by. The second Stoic law to kill negative thinking is this: stop arguing with reality. One of the deepest roots of suffering is resisting what already is. It's not just the bad event that hurts, it's the voice that insists this shouldn't have happened. A breakup, a betrayal, a missed opportunity. We torture ourselves with the belief that life should have unfolded differently. But the Stoics taught that pain is inevitable while suffering is optional. And suffering begins the moment we start fighting reality. Epictetus said, do not seek to have events happen as you want them to, but instead want them to happen as they do happen, and your life will go well. This doesn't mean pretending everything is fine or celebrating pain.
It means refusing to waste energy trying to undo the past. If it happened, it happened. Accept it, then decide what to do next. Picture 2 people caught in the rain. One screams curses the sky and stands frozen. The other accepts that they're wet, grabs a coat, and keeps moving. Which life do you want to live? Most negative thoughts are born from wishing the past were different. Why did they leave me? Why did I say that? If only I had taken that chance. None of those thoughts rewrite the past. They only keep the wound open. The Stoic response is to stop resisting, to embrace reality as it is, and to reclaim your strength in the present moment. On Stoicism Breath. One of the hardest truths is this: no thought can change the past. Replaying this shouldn't have happened only chains you to pain. The Stoics gave this practice a name, amor fati, the love of fate. It means embracing reality even when it hurts, because the event is not in your control, but your response always is. Picture this: you fail an exam or your business idea collapses. A negative mind whispers, I'm worthless, I'll never succeed. But the Stoic mind answers, this is a moment, not a life sentence. What can I learn? Don't fight the moment, use it. When your thoughts begin to scream, this shouldn't have happened, stop and replace it with, but it did. So now what? That single line flips the power back into your hands. You stop being a victim and step back into authorship of your own story. Peace doesn't come from a perfect life. It comes from accepting what is and still choosing to move forward. The next Stoic law warns, don't trust the first emotion. Too many people mistake their first reaction for truth. Anger, fear, jealousy, sadness. These emotions are normal, but they are raw and irrational in the beginning. If you obey them blindly, your life becomes a roller coaster. Think of emotions like waves. The first one crashes loud and heavy, but if you wait, it always passes.
Marcus Aurelius, ruling Rome under constant pressure, reminded himself, keep an untroubled spirit, look things in the face and know them for what they are. Imagine that the most powerful man on earth telling himself to stay calm and see clearly. Take a simple example: your friend doesn't reply to your message. The first thought might be, they don't care about me. But wait an hour. Maybe they were busy sick or simply forgot. If you act on the first emotion, you risk ruining something valuable. Practice the pause. When a negative emotion rises, name it, delay the reaction. Say I feel anger, but that doesn't mean I'm right. I feel fear, but that doesn't mean I'm in danger. I feel jealousy, but that doesn't mean I'm less. Emotions are signals, not commands. Another Stoic practice is the view from above. Imagine zooming out from your life until you're looking from the sky or even from space. That argument, that embarrassing mistake, they shrink into perspective.
And perspective dissolves unnecessary pain. Carry this simple phrase with you. Let me wait before I react. That single line has saved marriages, friendships, careers, and most importantly, inner peace. Remember this: you are not weak for feeling emotions. You are wise when you refuse to let them rule you. On Stoicism Breath. One of the greatest traps of the mind is the story you tell yourself. A rejection happens and your mind whispers, they never liked me. I'll always be alone. You make a mistake at work and your mind declares, I'm a failure. I'm not capable. The event itself is not what breaks you, it's the meaning you attach to it. Marcus Aurelius wrote, if you are pained by any external thing, it is not this thing that disturbs you, but your estimate of it. And this you have the power to revoke at any moment. Let's pause and unpack that. The silence, the rejection, the failure, the delay, none of these carry pain on their own. The suffering comes from the interpretation your mind creates, often shaped by fear, insecurity, or past wounds. Your boss gives a short reply and you assume they hate you. A friend doesn't invite you and you assume you're not valued. A result doesn't turn out and you assume you'll never succeed. But what if none of these stories are true? The Stoics taught us to separate the event from the story. Here's how: first, write down the raw fact. My message wasn't replied to for 2 days. Second, write down the story your mind is telling. They don't care about me. They're avoiding me. Third, challenge that story. Ask yourself, do I know this for sure? Is there another possible reason? Have I ever delayed replying? For reasons that had nothing to do with the other person. Most of the time, you'll realize the weight of your thought was just delusion. Here's the Stoic mindset. Bad things will happen, but they don't define you. You define the meaning. Your brain is a storyteller, but you are the editor. And a wise editor doesn't let false stories go to print. The next time your thoughts begin to spiral, pause, investigate, and rewrite. You are not the pain, you are the author with the power to change the page. The fifth Stoic law takes us deeper. Your environment feeds your inner dialogue. Negative minds are rarely born. They're built by toxic surroundings. The people you spend time with, the content you consume, the habits you repeat, all of these plant seeds in the garden of your mind. If you're constantly surrounded by noise, drama, and pessimism, your inner voice will echo the same. Seneca warned associate with people who are likely to improve you. Welcome those whom you yourself can improve. This isn't just about friends, it's about mental hygiene.
If your mind is a garden, who are you letting plant in it? Negative people who complain and gossip toxic content on social media, cluttered and chaotic environments. These shape the soil of your thoughts. And if you don't guard that soil, the weeds of negativity will take root. On Stoicism Breath, there's a truth that many overlook. Your environment is shaping your mind more than you realize. The brain is like a mirror, it reflects what it hears, sees, and absorbs the most. If your daily diet is toxic social media filled with comparison, outrage, and shame, your mind becomes addicted to low vibrations. If you live in chaotic spaces, a messy room, a cluttered desk, constant noise, your stress multiplies and clarity disappears. The Stoics understood this well. They lived with simplicity and order because they knew that external chaos creates internal chaos. Here's the hard truth: you can't kill negative thoughts if you keep feeding them every day.
That's why an environment detox is powerful. Ask yourself who drains my energy and who helps me feel calm. What content am I consuming? Does it inspire me or make me feel worse? Is my space supporting my clarity or suffocating it with clutter? The Stoics were not just philosophers of thought, they were architects of structure. They valued simple routines, clean surroundings, and meaningful conversations because they knew external discipline creates internal stillness. Try this challenge: spend 7 days without gossip drama or negative scrolling. Clean your room. Unfollow accounts that fuel comparison. Surround yourself with people who want to grow. You'll be surprised how much quieter your mind becomes. Not because negative thoughts vanish into thin air, but because you've stopped feeding the storm. This leads to the sixth Stoic law: you're tired, not broken. Too often people mistake exhaustion for weakness.
But negative thinking doesn't always mean something is wrong with you. It often means you're drained physically, emotionally, mentally, and even spiritually. When you're tired, every problem feels bigger than it is. You misread texts, overthink small choices, assume people are against you. Your mind becomes a storm not because you're weak, but because you're running on empty. The Stoics understood this deeply. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself that distress is not caused by the external thing, but by your judgment of it. Yet how can you make sound judgments if you're sleep deprived, overexposed to noise, or running on no fuel? Too many try to think their way out of the storm when what they really need is recovery. Negative thoughts grow louder when you haven't slept well, eaten properly, exercised, or given yourself time to be still. Stoicism is not about becoming robotic, it's about managing your energy with wisdom.
Even Epictetus, who preached discipline, warned that a full, tired, and overwhelmed mind cannot learn or grow. The solution is not more effort, it's renewal. Go to bed early tonight. Take a 20-minute walk outside without your phone. Say no to one thing that drains you. Write your worries down, then step away. You're not broken, you're just overrun. Stop treating exhaustion like failure. Treat it as a signal. Rest, refill, recover. And you'll often find that the negative thoughts dissolve, not because you fought them up, but because you stopped running on empty. On Stoicism Breath, the seventh law reminds us that gratitude is more than polite manners or positive thinking, it's a weapon, a powerful one. Gratitude kills negativity at the root because it forces you to see what is real, not just what's missing. When your mind sinks into negativity, it narrows into tunnel vision. Nothing is working out. Everyone is better than me. Life is unfair.
But the moment you begin to name what is going right, that tunnel cracks open. Seneca wrote, "It is not the man who has too little, but the man who craves more that is poor." Most negative thinking is rooted in a sense of lack in the illusion that something vital is missing. Gratitude flips that script. It reminds you that you already have much more than you realize. This isn't about ignoring your problems, it's about balancing your perspective. In your lowest moments, pause and ask, what am I taking for granted right now? What do I have today that I once prayed for? Who do I still have around me? Write it down. Just one line can start to shift your state. Maybe you feel lost in your career, that's real, but perhaps you're still healthy, safe, fed, and growing. Maybe your relationship is struggling, but in that struggle, you've discovered your own boundaries, strength, and self worth. Gratitude isn't a fake smile, it's not pretending everything is fine.
It's looking pain in the face and still saying, yes, this hurts, but I choose to see what's here. Here's the deeper truth: negativity thrives in forgetfulness. When you forget your blessings, your victories, your survival stories, you start to believe the lie that life is nothing but pain. That's why you must remind yourself daily. Make gratitude a ritual. Every morning or night, write down 3 simple things you're grateful for. It doesn't have to be grand: a breath, a meal, a memory, a person, a small win. Over time, you'll notice the change. The ache in your chest loosens. The fog in your mind begins to clear. Gratitude gives you anchors, and anchors keep you from drowning in the storm. If you've made it this far, understand this: you've already begun killing negative thinking, because awareness is the first cut, and awareness is exactly what Stoicism trains in us. This isn't about never having a negative thought again. That's impossible. The Stoics never aim for perfection. They aim for practice. You've now seen the tools. You are not your thoughts, you are the observer. You don't need to argue with a reality you can accept and grow. Your first emotion is not always truth. Pause and choose wisely. The stories in your mind are just stories. You can rewrite them. Your environment shapes your thoughts. Clean it up. Feeling tired doesn't mean you're broken. Rest can be the cure. And above all, gratitude is your armor against the darkness. Marcus Aurelius endured loss, betrayal, and burdens few of us could imagine, yet he wrote every day to train his mind toward peace. That same practice is available to you. Train your mind daily, silently, and strongly. You don't need to be loud. You don't need validation. You simply need to keep showing up for your own soul. On Stoicism Breath, the real transformation begins not with sudden breakthroughs, but with the simple act of showing up for your mind every single day. When you do that, your life starts to shift in ways you never thought possible. And hear this clearly: if no one has told you today, you're doing better than you think. Not because everything is perfect, but because you are aware. And from awareness, everything can change. This is how you destroy negative thinking, not by fighting it with brute force, but by cultivating daily clarity, by creating inner silence, and by drawing on the timeless power of Stoicism. The change doesn't happen in one dramatic moment, it happens in practice, in patience, and in persistence. If this message resonated with you, let it ripple outward. Like this video so more people can find it. Share it with someone who needs a little more peace in their life. Leave a comment with the point or quote that spoke to you most deeply. And subscribe, because together we are building a community of strong, disciplined, stoic minds. Carry this final affirmation with you: my mind is my strongest weapon.